In the next few minutes, I'm just going to break down really simply what the difference is between an hourly and a flat rate, when you should choose each, what are the benefits of each, what are the negatives of each, so that you can decide for your business whether it's time for you to go to flat rate, whether you should have some services that are hourly, some that aren't, and how that's going to help you grow your business. The pros of hourly is that you're guaranteed a certain amount of money for the time you put in. That's really the main advantage of hourly. You know that with every hour you put in, you're getting exactly this amount of money. The disadvantage of that, the flip side, is that you won't get more than that. The advantage is you won't get less than that. Hourly provides the most flexibility when working with a client. So I suggest doing hourly whenever you're working on a project that you're not quite sure how much time it's going to take you. You're not quite sure how the project will change. Maybe the client and you are still trying to figure it out, and the exact tasks that you're going to be involved in is going to change over the course of a few weeks. You don't have super clear tasks. You don't have super clear deliverables. Charge hourly, at least to start. You can always convert that project into a flat rate once it has a very clear, repeatable formula. Because there's two different types of projects, right? There's a single one-off project that you do for a client. And if it's a project you do often, you can easily rinse and repeat that. You know how much time it takes you, and you can offer a flat rate. Or there's ongoing services you can provide for a client, or maybe you're giving them some kind of consulting on a weekly basis, or you're helping to manage their website, every single week. And the amount of time you put in might fluctuate. Or you might realize, okay, on average, with this type of client, I'm putting in about this much time per week to manage their website. So I'm going to come up with a flat rate on the average time I put in, add some buffer to that, and now I have a flat rate, recurring rate that you can do. And we're going to get into that in a minute. Some other negatives of hourly is that besides you not being able to earn more than that hourly rate, is that it's difficult to raise your hourly rate on an existing client. It's possible. I've done it before. I tend to avoid it. I tend to just change my pricing structure when I'm ready to try to earn more money out of what I'm doing. I don't just go raising my hourly rate, because clients see that as, oh, great, now I can't afford you anymore. They're used to budgeting in a certain rate for you, even if the amount of hours you put in changes. And the issue with it is that when you're focusing on just hourly, the client also feels as if they're just paying for your time and not as much for whatever you're producing. They're not really focused on, okay, what kind of result are you producing for me, or what deliverable are you producing? They're more focused on the time, which is how they tend to treat employees. They're paying them more so for their time. And so I think it makes the relationship a little more off when you're just charging hourly for everything all the time. Also, the client tends to compare your hourly rate with the hourly wage they're paying their employees, and they get really thrown off when you have a very high hourly rate. Unless you're some type of a consultant, if you're offering consulting, you can get away with higher hourly rates because they see that as a high value hourly type thing usually. But if you're just providing a service like video editing and writing, other types of like production services, not consulting, it's very difficult you'll hit a ceiling with your hourly rate that you won't be able to break through very easily. For me, it was $75 an hour when I was editing. I couldn't break through that. And that's why I changed my pricing structure and my services. And again, the client is really hyper-focused on how much time you're putting in and whether you're being super productive during those hours. And they tend to be more obsessed over that. So flat rates, what are the advantages? The main advantage is that you can get paid much more than your hourly rate. You can get paid much more than your hourly rate only if you have enough data to be able to accurately predict how long a project will take you, how many tasks you have to do, how long each of those tasks take. Then you can earn more than your hourly rate, because you can choose a flat rate that the client is willing to pay regardless of how much time you're putting in. So let's say you're producing a video. It takes you 2 hours to edit. You charge $500 for that video because the type of video it is worth $500. The client feels like it's worth $500. You just walked away with $250 per hour. But if you charged your hourly rate of $50 an hour, then you only walk away with $50 an hour, and they paid $100 total. So it's very important that you move your business in the right direction to get towards flat rates, but just make sure you have enough information on the time it takes you for stuff, or you'll end up walking away with much less than your hourly rate. That's the main disadvantage of flat rates, is that if the project keeps expanding, the client keeps adding to it. It's called scope creep. The scope of the project keeps creeping bigger and bigger. Then you can end up walking away very annoyed, and you earn like $10 an hour for the time you put in. With flat rates, you also have to create a lot more specific contracts for that very reason, to protect you, to protect your time, and to protect the client. You have to have just a lot more details in your contracts to make sure that the deliverables and all the tasks you're doing are really clearly spelled out. The main big advantage of flat rates is that the client is more focused on what you're producing and the result that you're creating for them than they are on the time you're putting in. And that's really the space you want to be in, is that you as a freelancer, you're producing, they are paying for the result you're giving their business. They're paying for the video you created. They're not paying for the time that you're putting towards something. That helps you, and it helps them be more focused on the ROI, the return on investment. Now, another disadvantage of flat rates is that you are locked into producing a specific service with a specific deliverable that really can't change unless you change your contract and change your pricing. So to sum it up, hourly rates are best for projects where you're investing time that is more unpredictable. You feel like the project might change often. It's hard to nail down exactly how long it's going to take or exactly what different things you're going to be doing with the client, especially if you're working with them ongoing and you're still trying to figure out a good flow. You can always start with hourly, transition into flat recurring rates. And that's one way to do it. So a flat recurring rate is what my business is mostly built off of right now, where I have certain projects, like when I build strategies that are a one-off flat rate for that project. But then when I work with a client ongoing, I'm able to package my services into very clear deliverables as part of my ongoing services. So they charge, or I charge them a flat recurring fee, which gives me really high predictability in my business, that I know, oh, if I have this many clients paying this monthly fee, I'm going to get this much income. It's the subscription model that every business is adopting, that your Adobe Premiere subscription is adopting, that Dropbox, all the tools you're paying for are doing the same model because it works. It gives you very predictable income and revenue, and it allows you to retain a client on that type of subscription model in an easier way. So hopefully that helps you know the difference between hourly and flat rates and when to use each. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know in the comment section below. If you want to learn even more about this and be given more formulas and examples of how to figure out your hourly rate and flat rates, be sure to check out my new course in the link below. It's a course that is designed just for struggling freelancers who are not getting the income they want. They're not having the momentum and the consistency that they want. This course will help you build strong foundations in your business that will launch you forward. And I'm offering it right now for a very good deal. I want it to be affordable to any family that is barely getting by so that they can get the education they need. With that said, I'll see you in the next video.